Let's get more on the humanitarian situation in Gaza with UNICEF spokesperson and communications manager for Middle East and North Africa, Tess Ingram. Tess, good to have you with us. So as we're talking about here, under the terms of this ceasefire, Israel is supposed to allow this unrestricted aid into Gaza, but Israel's only allowing about half in right now because of this concern over the return of the remains of some of those hostages. Talk about the impact of that. Have you been able to scale up your work since this ceasefire came into effect this week?
We've got aid in since the ceasefire. We had, as UNICEF, more than 40 trucks come in on Sunday, but of course that needs to increase dramatically. And we were really hoping that today, tomorrow, we would begin to see meaningful volumes of trucks come into the Gaza Strip. So, look, it's bad news if aid is restricted, if the volumes of aid remain low. Aid should not be used as a bargaining chip. It is something that the children, the people of Gaza so desperately need. And our teams are here on the ground waiting for the thousands of trucks that we've got ready outside so that we can distribute them to families wherever they are.
We've all seen these images of just unprecedented destruction in Gaza. Being on the ground, help us to understand the sheer scale of the aid operation that's needed right now and how it compares to any other places that you've operated in.
The destruction is mind-bending. It's unlike anything myself or our colleagues have seen in other conflicts. Just this week, I spent 3 days in the north of Gaza, in and around Gaza City, where we know there was intense fighting in the months leading right into the ceasefire. We were seeing that area for the first time since then. And it's really, I'm almost lost for words here. It's hard to explain how shocking it is to see street after street after street reduced to rubble and families returning to that environment, trying to figure out how they move forward. People there are desperate for water because, of course, if they're going to try and live there, they need water to survive, they need food, they need medical care, and they need shelter. So the list is long, and that, again, that's why we need to scale up aid through all available crossings.
Yeah, and you mentioned water. We often think of just these aid trucks coming in, but there's so many other projects UNICEF has been working on. We're going to show a video here of a water desalination plant that UNICEF managed to rebuild. Tell us about this and why it's so important right now.
This is a plant that I visited just a couple of days ago in Gaza City, and it provides safe drinking water to people. Desalination plants are really important here because the water that comes from the ground is not safe for people to drink. So these pieces of machinery are a lifeline to families. We managed to keep that one safe despite the heavy bombardment in Gaza City. So we were excited to kick it back on and make sure that it was working just a few days ago. And now it's pumping water to people, but we need many more of those. And then we need the trucks to take the water from those desalination plants across the rubble to families in their places of refuge.
Also, as people try to move back home, try to see what's left of where they lived, the healthcare issue is another huge question. Hospitals in Gaza, obviously, many of them not operating. We also have a video here of a children's hospital where all of the life-saving equipment was destroyed. How common are scenes like this across Gaza, and what's the status of getting any of that type of equipment back in?
It's devastating to see hospitals like that. They should be places of healing and care for children. That particular hospital, UNICEF had incubators in there, ventilators that are now lost underneath the rubble. And I've been to hospitals before, and I know what they're like when they save children's lives. So it's heartbreaking to see them like that. We are desperately trying to bring in incubators and other life-saving equipment and medicines for hospitals to help them get back on their knees. Because as you say, there are unfortunately far too many hospitals in the Gaza Strip that have come under attack in this conflict, which I should add is against international humanitarian law. Hospitals must always be protected because of that life-saving service they provide. And when you walk into these neonatal intensive care units and you see the tiny babies clinging on for life in the incubators, it really drives home just how important it is.
And with that in mind, Tess, just what is your message to the international community right now in this moment?
I think the message is this is not over. Yes, the ceasefire is amazing news for the hostages who've been returned to their loved ones who've been waiting for them for so long, for the children of Gaza that don't have to fear the bombs anymore, But the suffering here continues. And so this is a moment for us to really step up for kids, to get that aid in and get it to them quickly, because a lot is at stake here. The needs remain high and they are urgent.
Tess Ingram, thank you so much for joining us. Please continue to keep us updated on everything that's happening there.
Thank you.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.